Hello and welcome back to the Formula 1 chat. We are here after the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix to discuss what a brilliant weekend it was.
It was
great to have Formula 1 back, isn't it?
It is really good, and we said this in our preview. Bahrain as a season opener is always good, and it was a brilliant race. I do think it was helped out by one man in a certain green car.
Fernando Alonso was fantastic. Wow. We'll probably touch on him more a little later. The way we want to do this, last year we sort of ran through the sessions. This time, I think we'll run through the teams and discuss sort of how they got on this weekend. We're going to start with McLaren.
I want to cry.
Because it was horrific. Where do you start with McLaren?
Okay, I look at this and go, see, I look at qualifying and I go P11 and P16.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not great, okay, I'll give you that, but not bad. Lando on the cusp of the top 10.
Yeah.
Piastri, in his first race in Formula 1,
Piastri in the same place that Ricciardo
Exactly. In the race, it wasn't great.
Bit of an understatement, that one, isn't it? Neither of them really finished. Lando had to come in 5 times
Lando did 6 stops.
Put air in his car, and Piastri, well...
Didn't make it past lap 5?
No, it was like lap 13, I think he called it a day.
It felt like 5.
It wasn't long, though, was
They changed his wheel, it still didn't... They tried to change his wheel and that didn't work.
Yeah.
All over, reliability problems up and down for McLaren. They need a complete shakedown.
Well, they don't look quick anyway.
Well, no, to be fair, Lando looked right when he wasn't having to pump air into his car.
Well, no, but he kept pace with Alonso and Hamilton, but he had fresh tyres.
Yeah.
He kept having fresh tyres.
Yeah, a lot of work needs to happen for McLaren going into Jeddah.
Well, 2 weeks, and they've got to build a car that doesn't keep blowing up.
If not, it could be a very long season for the papaya.
Do you think there's a genuine chance McLaren end up 8th in the championship, 9th in the championship, maybe?
Yeah, it really hurts. I have belief after qualifying that Lando could produce something, or Oscar would get out of the grid, and he gained 2 positions on lap 1. It just all went...
It's not what you expect McLaren to be, is it? Sort of fighting with the Williams at the bottom end of the midfield. I think we have a more clearly defined order now of Haas and AlphaTauri at the bottom. Then it's sort of McLaren and Williams. Then the midfield pack of Alpine and Alfa Romeo. I think they'll be fighting for points quite regularly. And then probably Mercedes. And then it's between Aston and Ferrari, but... We'll get on to them later. But for now... Yeah, McLaren, a lot of work to do.
Yeah, a lot needs to go into Saudi.
Haas then, Q3 appearance. That's quite strong for Hülkenberg.
And again, it was a really up and down weekend, similar to McLaren. But I think the positive for Haas is it wasn't a complete write-off.
No?
Well, compared to McLaren. I mean, McLaren barely made it
P13 and P15, Nico Hülkenberg ended up with only Zhou Guanyu behind him, and Lando, I guess, still classified, didn't he?
It was really bizarre saying that Hülkenberg qualified P10. I was expecting something good from Nico Hülkenberg, but he couldn't deliver. Yeah,
it was a bit of a disappointing race. I think just clearly lacked pace, but also racecraft, which is surprising to a certain extent because he's experienced, but also maybe that's just rustiness. He's not raced for a while, a little over-eager on the first lap, just sort of crashed into someone.
Yeah. I think from a Kevin Magnussen point of view, being the only driver to start on the hards, immediately put him to last.
Yeah, that just didn't work, did it?
Yeah.
Evidently.
Strategy gamble did not pay off at all, though.
No. They went very conservative.
They did.
And that actually meant
it didn't work. But
quite badly.
13th and 15th, you look at it, 3 places off the points, not horrendous.
Yeah, but I also look at it as 3 drivers DNF'd and Lando virtually DNF'd. If you're 4 places lower, that's 17th and 19th.
Yeah.
I think that's indicative of the season I expect from Haas this year. They don't look like they've got a midfield challenging car. Maybe they'll develop it throughout the season, but it's not promising signs.
No,
it looks like they're going to be at pretty much the back, or maybe getting a few points every now and then. Doesn't look like they're going to be
it's going to be
doing much more than that.
They're going to have to, pounce on other teams' misfortunes and get lucky results like Magnussen's pole in Brazil, where conditions caught everyone else out. You've just got to pick up things like that.
Well, last year they had some strong form around the midpoint, didn't they? France and Austria, I remember being particularly strong for them. So maybe we'll see a similar thing here, but equally they did record a P5 finish in Bahrain last year, so one of their strongest races.
I think it'll be a very mixed season.
Yeah. The only other team to not score points then was AlphaTauri. similar to Haas, really. They just looked horrifically off the pace.
I mean, to be fair, Tsunoda just off the points.
Fair enough.
So he drove decently. And De Vries, they hung him out to dry by not bringing him in under the VSC.
And then he just sort of toppled after that. I think he definitely would have been ahead of Kevin.
Maybe even ahead of Sargent.
Less. I think Sargent clearly had a bit of pace.
Yeah. But not a bad weekend from AlphaTauri by all accounts.
Not a bad weekend, but
room for improvement, I think, with De Vries. But it was his debut.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't his debut, but I'd count it as his debut.
I don't know where AlphaTauri are going to shake out. As I mentioned earlier, they're clearly defined at the bottom with Haas, but I still feel like there's some positives to come from this weekend. Haas very much not so, because they started high and ended up falling down the order.
And
whereas,
I think,
AlphaTauri not the same, right?
I think Yuki drove well. To be fair, 14th in quali, 11th in the race, wasn't awful from Tsunoda, but I think and without what I'd probably say an overperformance from Alex Albon, maybe I might be wrong, Williams, but without Albon being there, Yuki was very close, so not too bad.
Definitely could have got points, but I'd maybe see them as contenders next time out.
Yeah.
All they take is a couple DNFs from the top 10, a couple more cock-ups from teams like McLaren.
Same with Haas, you've got to pounce on other teams' misfortunes.
Yeah, fair enough. 7th in the constructors currently then is Williams, a point today.
Logan Sargent.
That could be a big point, I mean, we'll start with
Albon. Sorry.
Point scorer.
Brilliant drive.
Yeah. So what started P? 15?
Yeah.
He didn't set a lot. He set a good time, and then it was chalked off, wasn't it?
The difference between this point for me and for the point last season with Williams is that usually when Albon picked up a point, it was a brilliant defensive display, and he hung on to it. Today, his pace was consistently good.
Yeah.
I think he was never outstanding.
He looked really strong.
But it was consistently good, and it's a really strong point from
They seem to have a decent package, Williams. I think with James Vowles now in as team principal, I think that's a good appointment. So definite positive to take away from the weekend for Williams.
They want to do well, Williams. They want to do well. And it helps when you've got two drivers that aren't just there for a paycheck.
Yeah, Sargent.
Brilliant.
Debut.
On debut, P12.
I think he did better than I expected. P13, no?
No, I thought it
was
P12.
Might be 12, I don't know. I'll have a look.
I might be wrong. Oh,
yeah, possibly 12.
Yeah, P12. Really good drive from Logan on his debut. And you feel, if Albon wasn't there picking up the points, then Sargent probably would have been. But
he would have been 11th, so no.
Factually
incorrect, actually.
Right. But quali 15, 16 I thought was decent. But then for Albon to gain 5 in the race, Sargent to gain 4 in the race, it was a really good...
Just to sort of look ahead for Williams, I think Alfa Romeo overperformed. If you look where Zhou was, he finished second last of the classified runners.
Yeah,
I think clearly overperformed. He looked all right, but he then just longed out the early stint and was able to overcut a lot of
I look at it for Williams, they can certainly beat McLaren, they can certainly beat Haas,
and AlphaTauri.
Certainly beat AlphaTauri. On their day, they can challenge Alpine and Alfa Romeo.
And then you're in the points.
It's a really promising start to the season for Williams.
Ferrari have their reliability issues. McLaren can't finish a race. There's definitely points to be scored in these early rounds.
And
the Williams is only going to get better.
Exactly.
Most likely.
Exactly.
And as Logan adapts.
And also, you've got to think they've got the most wind tunnel hours out of anyone.
Yeah.
So,
that was a big point made with Aston Martin, also, because they get 100% of winter compared to
like
Red Bull, who only get 63%, because obviously they have the penalty for the cost cap.
Yes, yeah.
Breaking.
A really strong start from Williams.
6th then, we've got Alpine. Very contrasting days.
Should we start with Ocon?
Yeah. That's probably the best place to start, isn't it?
I mean,
what was going on? It was comical, the amount of penalties he picked up in the race.
It was just one after another after another.
I think it was 35 seconds he added to his race time in the end, and then he just retired.
Yeah, damn it, he had a bit of wing damage, came to fix that, and then he sped in the pit lane, and he got a 5-second track limit, and then he got a 10-second for not serving his 5 seconds.
Well, he got the initial 5 seconds, not for any of that, but for the starting grid procedure.
And then he failed.
Came in, didn't deal with it, then he picked up 10 seconds for that, 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane, and then more penalties on top of that.
5 seconds track limit was just an absolute calamity for Ocon. They retired the car.
As much as it's funny to see, and I know he'll be frustrated, that's a lot of penalty points. for Esteban Ocon.
Especially when his teammate, Pierre Gasly, also has quite a few to his name already.
I'm just going to quickly look up how many penalty points he is on.
It'll be interesting to see.
Because is there a genuine risk that Alpine have no drivers?
He's got to be careful because that's a lot of penalties today. It'll be interesting how many get added on. You'd expect, a couple.
Yeah. Sorry, the website I've used decided to have 100 pop-ups, but eventually we'll find the actual penalty points. Esteban's on 5. So today, you'd imagine you'd have 1 for the infringement at the start.
1 for speeding in the pit lane.
2 potentially for the
it's not his fault.
serving the penalty.
It's not his fault.
So maybe that won't be given to him. So I don't know how it works really.
I would probably say 2.
Well, track limits. That's another one.
Yeah.
So 3 penalty points. That puts him on 8.
It's close, especially when Gasly's on 10.
Gasly's on 10 as well. 12 is a race ban. They're both going to be on the edge. If they came together next time.
Oh my god.
And they both give Jack Jones a race seat.
It'd be interesting to see. But calamity for Ocon. So Ocon fell from, was it
quite high.
12th to last.
Yeah.
Gasly went from last to 9th.
What a brilliant drive, yeah.
Yeah.
Really good pace. I think it's the type of stuff we saw from Pierre before last season.
Yeah.
A really strong and capable driver, really quick. Just, sometimes a little inconsistent in qualifying, but a really good driver overall.
We talked about this in the pre-season, but Pierre Gasly is a capable driver. He's a race winner.
If Alpine have a good enough car, they've got one of the stronger lineups on the grid.
Oh, definitely.
I think.
They are strong enough to win races. They've both won a race before.
Yeah, 2 race winners, 2 quality drivers, 2 quality young drivers as well. So they've got one of the most exciting lineups. There's probably only, I'd say, Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari ahead of them.
Yeah, I think Aston Martin.
Yeah, well, if they didn't have that second
driver.
driver.
We'll in a minute, but I don't know. But Alpine, terrible day for Ocon, really strong day for Gasly.
Alfa Romeo then, number 5. We'll start with the show.
I think it's a bit similar, very contrasting between the 2 drivers.
Zhou Guanyu. Do want to point out before we get into show, on Friday's preview, I said that Zhou Guanyu would pick up the fastest lap. Smashed it.
Yeah.
Got it right. So, I'm just brilliant at predictions, really. Right. That's all there is to it. But Zhou Guanyu finished second last of the classified runners. Not a great day out for Zhou.
Yeah, I don't really know. He just lacked pace, but he did.
I feel like I didn't see him.
Lap. But
nothing
really
happened. He wasn't there.
He just didn't really. He lacked pace today.
It's just the fastest lap at the end.
Yeah.
Sort of.
He likes a glory lap.
Yeah, but of course that doesn't count for a point because he's outside the top 10. Did take a point away from
Gasly.
Fernando Alonso. Oh, was it Gasly in the end?
Yeah, Gasly.
Well, Alpine will be fuming then.
Yeah. And then from Valtteri Bottas' point of view, brilliant drive. Really, again, bit similar to what we've had for a couple of drivers. Not outstanding, but just consistently putting in good lap times to keep himself in P8.
I do think Valtteri is a good driver, but if that Alfa Romeo is not a strong car this year, he will struggle.
We know Bottas loves Bahrain.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting how he does at other circuits.
That's the thing. I think if you put him in the midfield, he could just be a bit of a rabbit in headlights, a bit chaotic.
Well, that's my thing. So I look at the teams you've mentioned, those 5 teams. I think it's so close in the midfield this year, it'll be race dependent on who's where. Yeah,
fair enough. On to the top 4 then, and the first of which, it's of course Ferrari.
I mean,
Ferrari. When will they change? When will they learn?
I genuinely do not know.
Brilliant, mate. Yeah, I mean, I'd hate to be a Ferrari fan. If you are a Ferrari fan, I feel for you. I can understand the pain.
On Saturday, choosing to save a pair of tyres rather than fight for pole.
That was a bizarre choice, but in hindsight, sort of made sense considering they didn't have a set of mediums.
But it didn't because.
But why did they not have a set of mediums? Is my question.
And also, Leclerc did nothing with the new softs off the start. He got Perez, but that was nothing because Perez was still very close to him. It was just really bizarre. And then on the Sunday,
I don't know. I think Leclerc did all he could. I think Leclerc raced as well as he could.
Yeah, I know, but he did well. But if that's him doing it as well as he can, why on earth did they decide to choose to save that? I do not know.
I don't think it made a huge difference in the end. I don't think that's the big blunder.
Not because his car then blew up.
Well, of course, yeah. Well, not exactly how you'd be looking to start the season.
Problems for Ferrari. They've got to sort it. If not, they'll find them. The difference is though, they'll find themselves 4th.
Well, this is the thing. When Ferrari had their reliability issues about midway through the first half of the season, they already had a bank of points they were sat on, and Mercedes were also struggling.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they had anyone challenging. Now you've got Aston Martin and Mercedes who both look quick, as well as obviously Red Bull, who are at the moment walking away with it.
Yeah.
For Ferrari, a slow start filled with
they could be in big trouble.
Little incidents, engine problems, mistakes.
Yeah.
That could cost them a lot more than it did last year. They could end
Massively.
up fourth in this championship
Yeah.
by quite some distance if they don't get their act together. Science Prime a big battle of points.
He did.
Did well to hold off Hamilton, I thought.
Yeah. And not
Because
much
he could have lost that position.
Fernando Alonso.
No, Alonso was different gravy.
But a decent race from Sainz. He, as you said, he did what he could, in the situation that was presented to him. So good drive from Carlos, and Leclerc did well as well until the car decided to cut out.
Yeah. But do you think Ferrari could go winless this year?
Do you know what? That's a shout.
Because I don't know if they can't. I don't know if they can challenge Red Bull on pace, and they're not going to out-strategy them. I just can't see it happening. So it could be that Ferrari, who most people thought would have the second or even the quickest car on the grid, might struggle for
That's the thing for me. Even if Red Bull do have an off day, it's going to go to Aston or Mercedes. I don't see it going to Ferrari.
That is the problem for Ferrari. They did have decent pace until Alonso and eventually Mercedes came through.
And Leclerc's car. But decent race for Ferrari, for science, but reliability, they have to sort it out.
They certainly do. Third then, Mercedes. I didn't think they looked too bad.
They didn't. No, they didn't. P5 and P7, I believe.
10 points for Lewis, 6 for George.
I think they'll be annoyed to be outscored by probably Stroll. You'd expect maybe Russell to be ahead of Stroll. I don't know. But decent race. They do.
I think Hamilton will be annoyed he didn't get Sainz.
Yeah.
Considering how he was sat behind him for a while. Then
but I think that is going to be their key battle this year, Mercedes, is with Aston Martin.
Which is not what they want to be, is it, really? They want to be fighting at the top. But, from considering their quality positions, I think they'll take it.
Definitely.
They probably should have got more, considering Leclerc, obviously, DNF.
You put Leclerc back in there, then you're looking at a 6-8, and then you're looking
Isn't ideal, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
They're on the edges of the points there.
They'll want to be further up, but for a first race of the season, they'll be happy.
Yeah, I don't think a 16 points holds anything to be too annoyed by.
As you said, I think Hamilton and you won't get Sainz. Yeah. Russell kind of, in the last stint, he never looked like getting Stroll.
I feel like they're not as quick as Ferrari.
No.
Evidently. And now Aston are quicker than them as well. That even they can't capitalise on Ferrari's mistakes because they're too quick. Because Aston are there, sorry. So it's going to be a weird season for Mercedes because I think they could end up fourth.
Yeah.
Which is, if either Mercedes or Ferrari finish fourth, that is a complete failure of a season.
Oh, for both of them.
No doubt about it.
I think Aston are throwing a massive curveball into
they have, haven't they?
Yeah.
They have. There's no way about it.
And this is the one thing that I think Aston could deliver that Merc and Ferrari haven't delivered over this, didn't deliver last season. Consistency. Should we talk about Aston?
Yeah, sure. It's brilliant, wasn't it? Absolutely brilliant.
This is the thing, though. It is going to be whichever of these three teams can bring consistency will finish second.
Yeah. 15 points for Fernando Alonso.
What a drive.
The standout, I'd argue. But it's hard to say that the guy, experienced driver, brilliant driver, Fernando Alonso, and he put on a show today, but his teammate, with a broken wrist, a broken toe, broken pins in his wrist, broken hands.
He didn't do testing.
No. And he hopped in the car and he produced a
Stroll.
P6,
and that's what I was saying. I think Stroll, in a good car, is a really good second driver.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's your perfect backup.
Yeah.
Because he's not going anywhere.
He's not
going to get disgruntled and go to Ferrari, is he?
He's not going to get in Alonso's way.
No.
Because Alonso will be 10 seconds up the road.
He can't get in his way, but he might punt him off the start. So you have got to watch out for that.
That was very close. But Fernando
I swear, that ruined their race and took them both out.
The thing is, Fernando Alonso, he could have done it easily. Waited to get both sides having to tell one.
His overtakes are sensational.
Up the inside of Hamilton at turn 10, up the inside of Sainz into turn 11.
And Hamilton and Alonso fighting side by side is something I can't wait to see more of.
It was a Fernando Alonso masterclass.
Yeah, very much so. If
it wasn't for one certain very quick team, he'd have won today and it would have been absolutely brilliant. But really good race from Alonso. Brilliant second podium, for Aston Martin. They want to build on that. Stroll looked really good, saying he had broken limbs.
This might be a bit of a stretch, but can Fernando Alonso win the Drivers' Championship?
Oh, do you know what? I would love to see it.
I wouldn't. I'm a man.
Oh yeah, but I think just from a neutral point of view, it would be brilliant.
Yeah, fair enough. But I don't know if he's quite there yet, but he is rapid. He is absolutely rapid.
If he was in that Red Bull, 100% he wins that World Championship.
Well, you think if Alonso and Verstappen are in the same machinery, you're saying Alonso would beat Verstappen?
That'd be close.
That's controversial.
I think it'd be very close.
It's controversial, mate. They're going to...
That is controversial.
Max Verstappen fans on Twitter are going to find your house.
I don't know. I think Max will probably pip him. Speaking of Red Bull, wow.
I mean, unparalleled dominance, isn't it? You thought maybe coming into this season someone would be able to challenge.
Yeah, I mean, Perez 28 seconds clear of Alonso, Verstappen 10 seconds clear of Perez.
Yeah.
Just wow. The car looks brilliant. Max and Checo look brilliant, especially Max.
They look rapid. Can anyone stop them? Probably not.
No. And that's the thing, though. You look at it and go, take that Max out, Perez has had what a race he's had. He's 28 seconds ahead of the next driver.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because we're only one race in, but I don't see where Red Bull drop points this year.
Because
it's going to take some mental circumstance, like a bit of rain or an engine failure or something.
See, that's the thing I look at this year. Last year, Red Bull won the championship in Japan. That was with all the engine problems in Bahrain, in Australia.
Well, right. So Red Bull won 17 out of 23 races last year. The other 6, they pretty much DNF'd, or Max was spinning around in Singapore.
Yeah.
And even then, Perez won that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's really difficult to see when they're going to actually
win
lose.
more. You know, I genuinely think they could win more.
Is there a chance Red Bull win every single race?
No.
No?
Fernando Alonso.
Well. But can Alonso? Is it possible?
Red Bull can't get it right every single race.
But why not?
Oh, Max started like 14th in Hungary and he still won with a spin.
Exactly.
That was last season. That was when the car wasn't brilliant.
But also, they could wrap up the championship well early this year because they've not got one team fighting behind them.
Yeah.
They've got 3 who are going to be taking points off each other.
Yeah.
Constantly. So
not get ahead of myself though. I'm still going to say it's very
open.
Of
course.
But Red
and we could get to the mid-season point
rapid.
And Ferrari be dominant because Red Bull.
I think my criticism has to be they didn't take maximum points from this weekend. So are Red Bull washed?
Because the fastest lap point.
They didn't take maximum points. I think the question's got to be out there. They're not there yet.
Yeah. Well, no one else took a fastest lap point.
I'm just trying to keep it interesting, to be honest. Yeah.
But yeah. Saudi Arabia, 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Okay then. Team of the weekend.
I was going to say, what we'll do is driver W of the weekend, team W of the weekend, driver L of the weekend, team L of the weekend.
It's a very good
stealing it from Tomo. Sorry if you're watching, mate.
Start with the L's then.
It's a good concept.
Team L, McLaren.
Yeah, mate, that was the most obvious one yet. I think if I was just going to be a little bit different, like a Haas, but it's McLaren, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I think Haas still. If you look at the weekend, Haas did still qualify in the top 10. Yeah. And both drivers finished the race.
And they've got Gunter Steiner.
They have got Gunter.
I'll be honest, mate. That Andrea Stella bloke, he could be the nicest chap in the world, but every time I look at him, I just think
he don't inspire me.
He looks, exactly. He doesn't inspire me. He looks so out of his depth.
Yeah.
It's because he is. He's not. He's never been a team principal before, and now he's got one of the worst cars on the grid, and he's trying to work magic.
Driver L of the weekend. It's an interesting one. This. I think it's a bit harsh, but I kind of want to give it to Zhou Guan Yu.
Oh, I'll go. I was going to go Charles. Not really his fault.
Harsh,
well, it's not his fault, but he's still lost the most points, and you can't give it to Ferrari.
And he didn't go to pole.
You can't give the team to Ferrari because they still picked up 12 points.
I'm going to give it to Zhou because I didn't see him all weekend.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Is it the driver that performed the worst, or the driver that got the least out of the weekend? Because it's interpretive, isn't it?
Well,
as an L,
I'm going to Zhou.
Charles, I think, took the biggest L. His championship. He's supposed to be fighting for the championship this year. His rival won the race by a canter while he didn't even finish.
True. And then
driver W.
Driver W.
I mean, it's quite obvious. Either Verstappen, but if you're not going to be boring, it's Fernando Alonso.
I'm going to go Verstappen.
Yeah. Oh,
just to be different.
Dull.
No, but you can go Alonso. Just be.
Alonso was sensational.
He was brilliant, but Max, you can't take away. You can't say driver W isn't the bloke who finished 10 seconds ahead of his teammate and 38 seconds ahead of third place. And then Team W, who are you going to go for?
Red Bull. They took a 1-2. Well, their next nearest rival was Aston Martin.
I think Aston Martin deserve a shout, but I'm going to call me a little bit biased maybe, but I'm going to go Williams.
I thought you go McLaren, that's what it was.
No, I'm going to go Williams. The step forward that they've taken from last year, really promising start to the season.
I just don't see how you can put them ahead of Aston,
Aston
and Red Bull.
Well. No, otherwise it's going to be different.
All right, well, I'm going to give Kevin Magnussen driver W of the weekend because he didn't crash.
Well done.
That's really different. No, fair enough. Williams did well, to be fair.
But in terms of really good opening race of the season.
Yeah. Back in 2 weeks. Saudi Arabia up next.
What a race it was last year. What a race it was the year before.
Brilliant track.
Should be exactly the same.
Provides a fantastic qualifying considering it is one of the fastest tracks in the world. But also the walls are right there. It's not Monaco where they're sort of teetering around.
Driving slowly on hairpin. They are flying.
Is rapid. It's such an exciting race.
It is.
Albeit very dangerous. But yeah. Should be a good time in 2 weeks. That is all for today, though. We will be back on Monday with some video, probably about why McLaren are horrific or something like that. I don't know what it'll be on Monday. And then next Friday will be our preview, so look out for that. But that is all from us today. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and get involved in the comments down below. We want to hear from you guys. What do you think of the Formula 1 season? The season opener in Bahrain. Can Aston Martin challenge Red Bull, and are McLaren washed? That's all for today, though. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.